Good morning, everyone. It is now 9:29 here in the boardroom of the Community Center. This is the regular open meeting of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board of Directors. We have a quorum, so I will ask now for Director Parsons, our permanent Pledge of Allegiance leader, to General, General, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're all from the South.
Okay. Can I get a motion from someone to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I see Director Parsons moves and Director Rain Sotzak seconds. Are there any corrections or additions to the open agenda? Hearing none, I'll go ahead then and assume that the agenda is approved. I'll now ask for approval of the minutes, the January 20th, 26th regular open meeting minutes, as well as the February 6th agenda prep minutes.
So moved.
Parsons moves. I see Director Johnson seconds. Are there any corrections or adjustments to those minutes? Hearing none, I will then go so and assume that they are approved. Report of the chair. At the moment, I don't have anything to report, so we'll move on and go to the open forum. At this time, members have the opportunity to speak. They have a maximum of 3 minutes, and we ask that they please refrain from any comments specific to named individuals or any derogatory remarks. Thank you.
First speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here with another update on the work done by the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which is done on behalf of residents that are experiencing temporary financial crisis. A New Year's resolution. Probably one of the most important is to protect your hearing. If you've been turning up the TV, asking people to repeat themselves, or avoiding conversations because it's tiring to keep up, it may be time to act, and finances should not stop you. Hearing changes slowly. We adapt without noticing, but untreated hearing loss has real consequences. Studies from leading medical researchers show it increases the risk of dementia, contributes to social isolation, and affects balance and mental sharpness. Treating hearing loss early is one of the most protective things that you can do for long-term brain health. So you can start by taking a quick free online hearing screening right at home. So here's 2 choices. There's one called Hearing Life, which is online, hearinglife.com/free online hearing test. Or Auticus, which is auticus.com/hearing test. If the results raise questions, please follow up with a licensed hearing professional. If cost is preventing you from getting hearing aids, there is help. The Foundation of Laguna Woods Village is once again offering free aids for residents who qualify financially through the Social Services Department. This remarkable opportunity is possible because of generous grants from Memorial Care and the Samueli Foundation's Breakaway Fund. Funds are available through October 26th or until they are fully used. So here's how you get started. First of all, call Social Services at 949-597-4267. 2, schedule an appointment to see if you qualify. 3, know that that applications are kept confidential. And even if your insurance pays part of the cost, you may still be eligible for help. And you must be a village resident participant to participate. So the new year is a perfect time to take care of yourself. Better hearing keeps you connected, confident, and fully present in the moments that matter. So for more information, you can visit the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village.org or email us at thefoundationlwv@gmail.com. So let 2026 be the year that you hear life clearly again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Dorothy Pacella.
Good morning, friends. Good to see you again. I'm Dorothy Pacella, and I am here on behalf of the History Center, and I am a trustee. In our continuing hope for continued education of the village on the history of the village, we wanted to share with you some other interesting components of our history. As you know, we were founded in 1965 by Ross Cortese. But maybe what you didn't know is that when he was a young man, he dropped out of high school, and his father taught him the building development industry. His first effort was to build Seal Beach up the road, and it wasn't exactly what he wanted. So he went to USC, to the School of Gerontology, and gave them his vision to help them guide him through what he needed to do. So in reality, what they provided was what he built here for us. But they identified that there were three vital components for a long, prosperous life. Number one was social. Number two was fitness. And number three was spiritual. Now, we all know about social. We do it really well with all of our clubs. We all do fitness really well because we all go to the fitness centers every day. But what we want to talk about this morning is spiritual. What many people don't realize is that when he did this, Ross donated the land outside the village. He took care of us because he wanted us to get to our places of worship easily and without conflict. So in the beginning, he donated the property outside the village to the churches. He deeded the property and gave it to them with two requirements. One, you have a membership, a congregation of at least 100 members. And two, you break ground within 2 years. So they began. And in 1965, the Lutheran Church had their building plan ready. And the following month after the Lutheran Church, the Catholic Church began construction. And 2 years later, the Catholic Church was the first to open in terms of being close to our village so we can all get to us. And after that, the other congregations started. So our Methodist friends and our Jewish temples and our friends with all their different synagogues. We also had, what am I doing here? Oh, Jewish, Methodist, First Baptist, Presbyterian, and Christian Scientists. And they all opened on the donated land that Ross gave them. And he even, believe it or not, hired a director of religious activities. He was that committed to our spiritual health. So, needless to say, Ross was looking more than just a social component. And now he looked at us, and he gave us the churches nearby. So we thank Ross. We hope he's in heaven. And we thank you all for your attention. Please come see us at the History Center. We're open from 11 to 1, Monday through Friday, or by appointment. So please come visit us. We'd love to see you. Thank you.
Next speaker is Bill Walsh.
Good morning. I've been out of state for a couple months, and so I'm not sure. I'm not up to speed on what's going on in Third or for GRF. Although I will say that on the weekend, I sat and watched the town hall you put on for Ting, and I was duly impressed. And thank you very much. I learned a lot. I have some more questions, but I'll go directly to them. I'm coming here to do another ask. That I've asked before is basically think about 11 years from now when net metering 1 goes away and you're generating a gigawatt of electricity on 12 Garden Villa buildings. What are you going to do with electricity? You're going to give it to Edison for free, or are you going to consume it in-house? And I think everyone's learned a lesson from how we reacted to the cost of Ting and the fact that somebody didn't set aside a reserve fund to think about the replacement of the internet facilities in the community. I suggest that you maybe even get a hold of Solar Optimum, who put that installation in. They're up in Glendale, I think, but you could even do a Zoom session with them. Yeah, you already know how much electricity each of those buildings produces in a month. You have how many kilowatts. And so you can talk to them, and they might be able to guide you into some directions of where the technologies are leading. You know, obviously in 11 years, I think batteries are going to probably come down in price, and they're probably going to be more powerful. There's a lot of changes going on. Those solar panels are commercial grade. They will last 40 years. This NEMA 1 lasts 20 years. So you've got another whole lifetime of those panels producing a good amount of electricity. So my suggestion is basically start thinking about what you could do to set up a reserve fund, what you would like to put in it, et cetera, et cetera. And those are my comments. And thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next speaker is Diane Phelps.
I'm here from the Village Community Fund to tell you about some exciting upcoming events that we're having or that are being put on. First, I just want to say that the Village Community Fund is a 501c3 charitable organization. It provides support for programs, services, and facilities that enrich the lives of older adults. And if you like any of these events that I'm mentioning or these clubs that I'll talk about, you're welcome to come to our website, which is villagecommunityfund.org, and make a donation to them. We currently have 9 fundraising campaigns that we're working with. So let's see. So here are these 3 events I wanted to mention, or these 3 clubs. Excuse me. The first is a presentation of the opera, The Yellow Wallpaper, put on by a group of residents in remembrance of C.C. Sloan. I don't know if you know her, but she was a longtime resident, known for her commitment to women's voices, the arts, and social justice. The event is on March the 7th from 3 to 5 in Clubhouse 7. It's free to all because of donations that have been raised through the Village Community Fund. But space is limited, so if you want to go, you need to send a message to ccsloanlecture@gmail.com, or you can call 310-741-0650. The next is the Village Reads. It has selected its book for this upcoming event. It is called The Instrumentalist, and it's by Harriet Constable. This event will be held in Clubhouse 7 on April 18th, and the purpose of it's called a community read. And what it is this event, it encourages everyone to read the same book, and then we have something common to discuss without yelling at each other, which is always helpful. For more information about that, you can look at our website again, or you can, and if you want to buy a $10 ticket, get with them. They have the Village Reads lwv@gmail.com, and you also can find they have a web page on. They have a web page on the Laguna Woods Village website. Otherwise, that was their email. Anyhow, and then the other one I wanted to mention is the Camera Club, because they have 4 amazing events going on with a renowned photographer and videographer, Todd Gustafson. And the first one of those, I think, is April the 26th at Clubhouse 5. Tickets are $30, but you can buy a VIP or a sponsor ticket if you want. It's more expensive. And so for more information on their events, you can go to the Camera Club, Laguna Woods, Camera Club, lwv.org. And like I say, if you want to donate to any of these events that are open to all village residents, you can go to our website, villagecommunityfund.org. Thanks.
Final speaker for open forum is Carol Kelly.
I'm from 5465B, and my question is, I am almost 1 year a new resident here, and my insurance is up for renewal. So I was asking my neighbors about who they use for insurance, and they said, you need to really talk to your insurance company because Laguna Woods owns the outside of the building, which I was already aware of. And they said, look at the Laguna Woods Facebook page because evidently there's a building that caught fire and it hasn't been fixed yet. So I went to my insurance company and said, well, if my property burnt down because I'm connected to 2 other units, one which has a smoker, how soon would that building be repaired before you could go inside and do the interior? And they said, well, they couldn't do anything until Laguna Woods did the outside. So my question to you, which you probably can't answer right now, is how soon, once Laguna Woods sees that there is a fire, that they fix that outside damage so that the homeowner can then go in with their insurance to do the inside? That's all I have to ask, and nobody seems to be able to answer the question. Nobody out front, so perhaps you could direct me to who would do that?
Dan Yost, our risk manager, is the one who probably could best address the question. One of the reasons it's taken so long on the unit over in Gate 11 that you're referring to is that there was a problem between the insurance companies. And until that got settled, nothing could be done. So it was the insurance companies arguing with each other.
I understand that. I understand that.
And we have no control over that.
Right. So my problem is if my neighbor next door, his place caught fire and then mine did, if his insurance company's fighting over it, how does that help me to get mine repaired?
It doesn't.
So it's just a waiting game and you have nowhere to live.
Well, that's why there's an article coming out in next month's Village Breeze under Third Mutual that is co-authored by Dan Yost, the insurance risk manager, that specifically talks about what your HOA policy, HO6 policy should include versus what the mutual insures. So that way you will know also whether you have enough to cover the rebuild of your own interior of your manor as well.
Right.
So take a look at that article, but contact Dan Yost, risk manager.
Thank you.
Donna?
That might make it more, not necessarily important, but bring to all of our attention that perhaps we should cover or carry loss of use.
Well, that's
Because
part of
that-
HO6.
Right.
Well, but it's an option. I
Right.
believe this. It's not required. So at least if it takes a while, because there's nothing anyone can do if the insurance companies argue with each other, but at least loss of use insurance will take care of your cost of relocating until yours is ready.
Right. Okay.
And for example, I have 3 years loss of use on my insurance policy.
Oh, okay.
So if I had to be out for 3 years, I had certain coverage that would allow me to live elsewhere for 3 years.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, responses to the others. Anybody? Director Hopkins.
Yeah, Bill, thank you for your suggestion on creating a reserve for the future. Yeah, I think that's a unique, maybe difficult to implement in this environment, but it is something to think about. And so it rang with me because we looked at these, not the solar, but the Ting situation about 5 years ago. And so we did add to the reserve at that point. So that's why we're not as in bad a shape as we thought we would have been. The price was higher than we thought back then, but it was part of our reserve calculation.
All right.
No, I would like to thank Bill for bringing that up because I think we do need to look at our reserves and we do need to plan ahead. So thank you, Bill.
Director Parsons.
Yeah, to Chris, thanks so much for bringing that up because I was going to ask you this morning that very topic on hearing loss. I know a lady that just doesn't have a whole lot of money and she's in the hearing group and she needs a hearing aids like $5,000. There's no way she can handle it, so she's working with one hearing aid. So I'll try to get a hold of her and get her in contact with you.
Anybody else? Okay, what I will say is I want to thank Chris from the foundation always. It's the wonderful work that you folks do, and it's really helpful to the residents of this community, so thank you. Also for the History Center, Dorothy, appreciate you coming every month and enlightening us with a little more history about the village, and hope that you'll get increased turnout as a result of it. Diane, Village Community Fund, excellent. Thank you for the work that you guys do and bringing it to our attention as well. And Bill, as always, we much appreciate the kind of insight you bring to us as it relates to the electrical issues. Thank you.
I would like to add one more thing. I already have my tickets to CC Sloan's.
Okay. Anybody else? And Ms. Kelly, I hope that you'll contact Dan Yost, Risk Management. Okay. All righty. Now we go to the CEO report.
Thank you, President Butchnick, honorable members of the board and our audience. I would like to begin this morning by highlighting an upcoming workshop. It's titled Avoid Scams and Fraud. We're seeing an uptick in fraud and scams throughout our community, throughout the region, throughout the country. So we want to make everyone aware that this workshop is happening on Wednesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. in Clubhouse 7. No reservations are required. It's sponsored by Social Services and Manor Alterations. Topics include how to safely hire contractors, recognize home improvement scams, identify financial, government imposter, and tech support scams. So again, that's on Wednesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. in Clubhouse 7. Another topic I wanted to touch on is coyote reporting. As you've heard through the president's letters and so forth, we are working closely with the city to enhance our addressing of the coyote situation in our community. One thing we need residents to do, please, is to report to Animal Services problem areas in our community where there are lots of coyotes. We ask that residents contact the non-emergency coyote hotline by telephone at 949-639-0501 and leave a message with the information that you have. Or you can email coyotes@lagunabeachcity.net and pass along that information. Reporting allows Animal Services to identify and target hotspots in our community. We also want to remind residents that the new resident portal is available to perform services offered by Resident Services, including reviewing your vehicle information, submitting and tracking maintenance requests with real-time updates, view account balances, and make secure online payments, verify your emergency contact information. And then it also offers direct links to recreation calendars, board meetings, and maintenance schedules, and access to external booking tools for golf tee times, guest registration, and facility reservations. So you really can do it all in one stop. The resident portal is available at portal.lagunawoodsvillage.com, or you can click the resident login at the top of lagunawoodsvillage.com homepage. The portal also includes a built-in tutorial for new users that walks users through every step and each feature if you need that extra assistance. And a reminder from our financial services department to avoid duplicate charges when paying online. Credit or debit card payments via the resident portal may take up to 4 business days to post. Do not submit another payment during this time or you may be charged twice. Duplicate payments require manual refunds and may take up to 7 business days. If a payment still shows outstanding after 4 business days, please email ar@vmsinc.org before paying again. And mail check payments may take up to 10 business days to post. Payment options include Easy Pay, which is recommended. This is an automatic monthly bank draft. There is no service fee. Set it up once and it is handled. Credit card payments are available for convenience. Monthly assessments paid by card include a third-party processing fee. There is no credit card fee for chargeable services invoices. I also want to share that the 2026 Laguna Woods Art Exhibit is underway here in the Community Center. Residents are invited to the Community Center to view the exhibit. There are more than 140 works of art adorning the first and third floors, and each piece is accompanied by a placard listing the artist's name and contact information, artwork title, medium, and dimensions, and price if it is available for sale. Otherwise, it's marked NFS for not for sale. Residents and visitors may vote for their single favorite artwork through Friday, February 27th. Find the artwork number in the bottom left-hand corner of the placard. The official ballot is available in the community center lobby. Write the placard number of the favorite piece, drop in the lobby ballot box, and the winner will be announced in What's Up in the Village on Friday, March 6th. The exhibition is open during community center hours, which are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And lastly, the 2026 Village Games take place Monday, April 6th through Thursday, April 30th. Registration starts next Monday, February 23rd. The fee is $15 for one event and $5 for each additional event. For more information, you can call Recreation at 949-268-2275 or email recreation@vmsinc.org. And thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you. Any questions?
I
Director
just
Moore?
have a comment. On the coyote reporting, I have a camera in my backyard, which is only 10 feet wide, and it just photographs the backyard. I've had coyotes there day and night in the last couple of weeks. I send those videos to the coyote. They do not respond. I think that more people would be amenable to notifying them if they know they get there.
This is a tracking mechanism, so we ask that you leave a message. If you do want contact back, you need to be clear in your message that you expect a call back. But again, this is to identify hot spots in the community.
I know that, but people do not do that. So if they would just have an automatic, we received it, so we know it's not going into a blind alley.
Thank you, I'll pass that along.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Director Karimi?
Thank you, Madam CEO. I'm concerned about the heavy rain that we had and the one that's coming. Any information on, because of the MNC issue, I want to see if there is
Yes,
any information.
we will gather that information, and I hope to have it to you at closed session this
Okay,
afternoon.
but so far, nothing serious has happened.
Not to my aware.
Okay.
But I do want to mention, we did have storm crews
know.
working yesterday, clearing storm drains, patrolling the community and so forth, just to be proactive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? Thank you. We'll move on. Now we move to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committee and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such items shall be subject to further discussion and action by the board. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar? I see Director Parsons' hand first. I see Director Moore's hand as the second. All right. All those in favor of the consent calendar signify by raising your hand. Thank you. So the consent calendar has now been approved. We now move to unfinished business, item 10. Entertain a motion to approve the third mutual Monterey-style floor plan room reclassification policy. This was originally a December initial notification, revised February 28th notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. And if I'd ask the secretary to please read the resolution.
This is Resolution 0326XX. Deny the request for removal of one red ironbark tree.
No.
Is that what I'm doing?
We're on unfinished business. We're on 10.
How did I get to 10? Okay, sorry.
We're on 10.
Sorry. Okay, this is third mutual floor plan, room reclassification change. Whereas the Third Laguna Hills Mutual recognizes the need to amend resolutions and create new resolutions as necessary. And whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to create a new resolution regarding the reclassification of a den to a bedroom for all Monterey-style floor plans. And whereas the reclassification will be endorsed by the Mutual if and when requested by the owner member, with the condition that said reclassification complies with all building code requirements necessary for a bedroom classification at the time of reclassification request. And whereas the reclassification process will be as follows. the member must initiate the request for a reclassification change. 2, a copy of the current floor plan is submitted to matter alterations. 3, an over-the-counter mutual consent is issued. 4, the member submits this to the city for issuance of a city permit. 5, the city processes the bedroom reclassification permit for compliance with building codes. 6, if approved by the city, the member provides a copy of the final permit to manor alterations. 7, manor alterations updates and logs the information. And whereas, if any changes are required, the member assumes full responsibility for any and all costs necessary to bring the room classification into full compliance with current building codes. Now therefore be it resolved, March 17, 2026, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the creation of a new resolution for room reclassification changes to Monterey-style floor plans as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve, to put this on the agenda, put on the floor? Director Parsons moves. Second. Director Creamy seconds. We'll open it for discussion.
I would like to just make one comment. We have both this floor plan in United and in Third. United has a unique opportunity, and they chose to reclassify all of theirs as a two-bedroom. We now differentiate from United because we only classify them as a one-bedroom. So they may be side-by-side units, one in United and one in Third. They will be classified differently, and they will have unique process to request any variations or any additions. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Discussion?
Just want to point out,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
there's a spelling error under number 6. It says finaled, and it should be final with no ED.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion about the motion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Do you want us to vote on screen? And I'm obviously not voting.
Moon, you have your hand raised. Are you voting for? Thank you.
Motion passes 7 yes, 1 no. Okay. We move on now to new business. First item is entertain a motion to approve the revision to Standard 11A. That's interior flooring for second and/or third floor manors. This would be on initial 28-day notification. I'll ask you to please, Madam Secretary, to read the resolution.
Resolution 0326XX, revised standard 11A, interior flooring for second and third floor manors. Whereas the Third Laguna Hills Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary. And whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to revise standard 11A, interior flooring for second and third floor manors. Now therefore be it resolved, March 17th, 2026, that the Board of Directors for this corporation hereby adopts revision and amendments to Standard 11A, interior flooring for second and third floor manors, as attached to the official meeting minutes. And resolve further that Resolution 032567, adopted April 15th, 2025, is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written. This is on 28-day notice.
Thank you. Can I get somebody to move? Director Parsons moves. Is there anybody to second this? Director Moore seconds. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Director Parsons.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that this topic has been discussed in great detail, and people have done a lot of research on this, and I feel very good about what has been done and what's been brought forward. both pros and cons. So I wholeheartedly support this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Director Johnson.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment for the members that this new resolution is very lengthy, so I would encourage anybody that wants to make modifications to read this whole proposal, this whole resolution, before going to manner alterations. It will really save you a lot of time and effort. It will save alterations a lot of time, and all of us discussing it if you prepare yourself and read the resolution first.
Well,
it's very lengthy and it's got some technical drawings, so I would encourage you to do that.
That would be standard 11A.
Yes.
That you're referring to. Okay? Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and vote, please. If you ask Dr. Moon.
Moon, can you advise if you're for or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
8 yes, no no's. Motion is approved for the 28-day notification. Thank you. Moving on, next item of business is entertain a motion to approve the revision to the alterations for accessibility policy. This is also on 28-day notification, because there's a revision to it.
Resolution 0326XX, Alterations Accessibility Policy. Whereas the Third Laguna Hills Mutual recognizes the need to amend policies and create new policies where necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need for the Mutual's policies to work in harmony with relative county, state, and national guidelines, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to revise the alterations for accessibility policy. Now therefore it be resolved March 17, 2026, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the alterations for accessibility policy as attached to the official meeting minutes. Resolved further that the determination of whether a proposed accessibility alteration, AA, meets the criteria set forth by the alterations for accessibility policy shall be made by staff and processed as a mutual consent. And resolve further, unapproved deviations from the approved AA may be subject to resolution through the variance process. Additionally, objections received within 10 days of notifications will require a variance. Resolve further, appeals may be made to the mutual board, whose decisions shall be final, and made in the mutual board's sole and absolute discretion. And resolve further that Resolution 032603, adopted January 21st, 2026, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution as written.
Okay, can I get somebody to move? Director Moore moves, a second. Director Johnson seconds. All right, any discussion? Well, I do have some discussion. And I sent, Alan, if you would come up, because I sent you an email related to this. If my recollection from the ACSC committee was that they wanted, and I'll refer to the red line version, page 16 of 26. Red line version, page 16 of 26. Item number, what is now item number 7 on that page, you added the line, Third Mutual through MA may approve an AA on common area for an AA request when such exclusive use designation meets. And it goes on. You took out the MA, ACSC, and Third Mutual shall endeavor to process the request. I understood the intent of the committee was they still wanted the committee and then the board involved, that they did not want to just turn this over solely to manner alterations for approval. Director Creamy, I think I remember you specifically raising that issue.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask, if that's the case, why is it written this way?
This revision is your legal review team. It's not anything that manor alterations initiated.
You're saying the legal team took out the committee and the board?
Correct. So everything you see.
I don't remember reading the legal opinion the legal position that way on this issue.
So there is currently an approved accessibility alteration that's been approved. It was reviewed then by legal, and what you see here, all the red lines are as a result of the legal review.
Director Creamy.
Yeah, the only thing that we discussed, and I thought it was accepted and the committee voted on, was this not over-the-counter approval. It has to go to the committee because case by case is different. Because we're given accessibility and the committee and the board have to be aware of any restriction, any problem, any issues. This is not one size fit all because the accessibility can be a different location and different issue. And the committee and the board need to kind of weigh on that. And that's what I thought we voted on. But now I don't know what happened between then and, getting the legal opinion. And I didn't see anything in legal opinion that says we should do it over the counter. That's the issue.
Again, this is simply a response of your legal team's review. As I did a more in-depth look at the response, it became apparent that the variance process was only necessary in 2 instances. One, if a member changed their AA after the fact, then it may go through the variance process. 2, if there was an objection received within 10 days, then that would require the variance process. Other than that, it would now be processed as a mutual consent with these guidelines or with this policy as a guideline for approval.
And I agree with Alan, that's what I read.
Director Parsons?
Yeah, could we get clarification on this during the closed session with our legal team?
Sure. My big problem with it is that this is common area, and that the board should have the final decision on the issue of common area, not manor alterations.
I have a question. If we are legally required to do something, then do we, even with common area, have the authority to go against that?
Yes, if it doesn't meet certain qualifications, yes. It's not automatic, that just because it's requested, that it's automatically approved. So the answer is yes.
But I think also that the board and the committee need to be aware of each of these things before they happen, or else we don't know how to respond to people.
So, just a side comment. From my perspective, the only reason that this was brought to the board for an update, or the ACSC committee/board for an update, was an intent to help the member in facilitating their request. Right now, usually we get two of the most requests we get are one for a stair lift or chair lift, then the other would be a ramp. But it takes so long to go through the process itself because right now they are processed as a variance. The intent was can we simplify the process by allowing this as a mutual consent and not a variance? So that was the original intent of updating the policy. However, manor alterations will abide by whatever the board decides. We are simply, this is simply a response to, or it actually is word for word the legal team's response. This was there.
Well, we always can have extra meeting for the committee to, talk about the issues if the members are in distress. So the problem with this being over the counter, as Director Parsons said, that we're going to have no idea what's happening to the common areas and to the areas. Neither the committee nor the members, nor the board. And that's why it has to come. If the process going to take longer, we always can work on that. We can have a special meeting, and I don't think that's going to be any problem to work with the time. But the issue is that the committee and the board need to be aware of usage of common areas and the installation, all of that.
If I may clarify, this is not an over-the-counter process. It is a mutual consent process. That process still goes through the plan check review. The plan check review looks at the standard and makes sure that the request complies with the standard. It's simply not over the counter.
Yeah, but that one doesn't give the right for the common area.
Just as Director Moore.
And I think the legal description did address that, and it was only looking at the chairlift and the elevator, if I'm correct.
Yes, in section 7, they kind of address the usage of that. They added if an elevator would be put in, but those 3 items were what legal reviewed and clarified as well.
So I think what I am addressing here is the fact that the more issues we put on having to come to the board and having to come to the committee, and we're dealing with someone who is disabled, it is time constraints rather than just having a policy that we should be notified, as the board should be notified, but not for the approval to go to committee and then go to board and then be approved and then. Just my thoughts.
Right. Again, I'm just simply responding, or what's in here for approval and review this morning is what the legal team has determined.
Director Parsons and then Director Hopkins.
Yeah, my understanding of David Sterling, dealing with this kind of stuff, not specifically people in wheelchairs or whatever, but the board can say that everything has to come to them for final approval, or the board can give that authority to that committee, the ACSC. But you can't sidestep one or the other. And I think that's applicable even in this situation. So I don't know of any exceptions to that, even in the new 2026 Davis Sterling Act.
Director Hopkins?
Yeah, I think what she said was that the calendar, the consent calendar, this would go on a consent calendar under the rules that you have today, or are you proposing?
No, the only things that currently go on the consent calendar are variances. So a typical mutual consent would not go on that calendar.
I see. Okay.
Just approved.
All right. What are the, Donna?
Alan, you said that the wording that we were questioning was legal's insertion. And I would suggest that we verify that.
Yeah.
Because that's, because our legal counsel has been quite concerned for us, as making sure that any obligations for the community and the board are covered. So it possibly is a way of getting this to move forward without putting huge brakes on it, is that we would approve it pending verification of legal's addendum, legal, well, not so much interpretation because they put the words in now. So the best way, how would we do that? Pending verification of the wording of the legal opinion, something like that, so that we're sure that we are within our legal counsels.
So to clarify, thank you for that. So to clarify, the initial review by the legal team did have verbiage in there that required it go through the variance process. The subsequent review, which is what's here this morning, removed that requirement.
And that's, I think, why I'm saying that we clarify, because we heard one thing from legal counsel, so it's not a question of doubting you, it's just a question of us knowing
Yeah.
what is really
Director
being
Moore.
said.
I think the difference here is the notification of the board. So not necessarily that the board will change it, but the fact that the board member, Reza, is concerned that we will not be notified if community property is used or community. So how do we get the board just to recognize that this is taking place under the legal agreement?
Fair question. So what we may do is allow it to go through the mutual consent process for the time aspects of it, but also with every AA request, a notification be sent to the ACSC committee or to the board that that has happened. I don't see that as being an issue that we couldn't amend this to include just a notification to the board or ACSC committee or both, if we could bypass the variance process.
Well, is that prior to or after action is taken to approve to the resident? When would the notification take place to the ACSC?
Well, my initial thought was after it's approved, but for your awareness. But
That's what I have a problem with. And I think that you can have an emergency meeting anytime you need to. We used to.
We get so few requests for this kind of thing that having that kind of meeting would not be a regular occurrence. It would be, you know, every now and then. I think you said at one point that we get 1 or 2 requests a year for this kind of thing.
correct. And we did, I don't honestly remember if it was United or Third, we did have one request for a stair lift. Because of the urgency of the situation, it was brought to the ACSC and the board on an emergency basis and approved. There was a special meeting held just for that. So that is possible.
All right, what I'm hearing is everybody would like to query legal counsel this
Yeah,
afternoon.
and that's the fact that we're going to be in contact with legal counsel this afternoon just seems like, why would we go ahead and do this without making sure? Because we heard something different. And so we just want, it's protecting the community and everybody else, you know, make sure.
So what do we want to do with the current proposal that is on, we have a motion to approve?
I suggest that we amend the motion to state that we would make a recommendation after we spoke to legal counsel. Can we do that, or how would we word that?
How about approve pending clarification of the legal opinion? Something
Whatever.
that says, yes, we said okay, but only if the attorney has worded it the way we understand it.
I mean, this is on 28 days. You can still prove it and not vote for it, pertaining to the legal counsel's recommendation.
Director Parsons? You were shaking your head no.
Yeah. Before we approve anything, I want us to go and talk to legal about this for actual clarification. It's like I said, there's certain things in Davis Sterling, and if we hear different things, that's a problem.
Okay, Director Karimi?
I just want to, I'm not sure if I can do that, but can I make a move to move this one to the closed meeting for discussion? This item?
I mean, you can talk about it in closed, but you can't vote on the item since this is an open item.
Yeah.
You can.
No, because of the legal part
You
of
can
it.
pull your motion and just discuss this at your closed session and bring it back next month if you wish.
Yeah, bring it back next month.
All right, so why don't we table this?
Yes.
Move to table
Okay.
is probably the best. Can I get somebody to move to table? Mort moves to table. I see Parsons second. Tabling is non-debatable, so therefore. That's your ruling? No, tabling is non-debatable, so we will now call the question on tabling.
You learned something on your vacation, didn't you?
And Moon left a little while ago via Zoom, so
Okay, so now
I
down
marked
to-
him as absent.
We're down to 7 votes.
What are we voting on?
You're voting on tabling this motion. Tabling
Okay,
the motion.
but on the screen it says to approve, so we have to.
It says vote to table the approval of this item.
Oh, they're
so-
on the table, okay.
Yes,
I read the motion itself.
Yes.
And saw that it was.
it'll,
Looking for 2 more votes.
we need Director Hopkins,
And mine is not registered.
and we have Donna. Okay.
All right. It is 6 yes for tabling, 1 abstain. Motion has been tabled, and we will pursue this with legal counsel this afternoon, and then it'll come back up on, a motion to table will automatically come back up at the next meeting. Okay? Moving along. All right. Third, mutual committee reports. We will start with the Finance Committee. Director Fox. You've been silent most of the morning, so here's your opportunity.
Pacing myself.
It's got 3 in a row, so it's.
Thank you, President Muchnick. Okay, we have some slides. Righty then. Okay, so this is information from the fiscal year ending December 31, 2025. Our last meeting was a closed meeting on February 3rd, so nothing to say on that. This, I guess, is information that may have been available back in January, and let's talk about it. So, slide 1. Through the reporting period of December 31, 2025, total revenue for third was $50.1 million compared to expenses of $49.8 million, resulting in net revenue surplus of $263,000 when combining both operating and reserve revenues and expenses. This table takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget, and it reflects a favorable year-to-date net revenue balance of $1.9 million. Slide 2. Stop me if you have questions. If not, I'll just plow through. Okay, slide 2. Most significant variances, as you can see on the screen. First, as always, is insurance. And this is favorable due to savings that began in June for our property insurance renewal. Second largest number are the fees and charges to residents, $964,000. Favorable variance, primarily due to higher damage restoration revenue for moisture intrusion than anticipated. Third would be the investment income, and this is a favorable variance driven by higher than anticipated investment balances and more frequent reinvestment into short-term treasury bills, with the investment cost basis increasing from a budgeted $27.6 million to $31.6 million in 2025. Despite an average treasury return of approximately 3.96% versus the 4% budget, the larger principal generated higher interest income. Fourth on the list would be the materials and supplies, and this is a favorable variance primarily driven by M&C due to delays in the exterior paint program from inclement weather and unanticipated dry rot. Okay, let's go to, let's do that. Screen number 3, and that would be, okay, on this chart you can see that the non-assessment revenues earned to date, $4.4 million by category, starting with our largest revenue-generating categories of chargeable services, investment income, lease processing fee, et cetera, et cetera. Slide number 4, we're looking at the expenses to date of the $49.8 million for the year by category, starting with our biggest categories of employee compensation, outside services, utilities, insurance, so on and so forth. Slide number 5. Okay, we try to keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund is showing a surplus of $700,000 through the reporting period. This table shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $31.8 million coming in from assessments, $3 million coming in from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of $34.1 million, not including depreciation. Slide number 6. Non-operating fund balances on December 31, 2025 totaled $34.7 million. Year-to-date contributions, interest, and fund transfers totaled $15.3 million, while expenditures were $15.7 million. This table shows us that our non-operating fund balances decreased by $346,000 overall since the start of 2025. Slide number 7. Okay, what do we got here? We're comparing the non-operating fund balances to historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which has averaged $32.5 million. Third Laguna Hills Mutual has been committed to supporting reserve requirements and having more contingency funds for unexpected events. And we move to slide 8. And we have a slide here to show the resale history from 2023 through the end of 2025. Through December of 2025, third resales totaled 352, which is one less than the prior year for the same time period. The average year-to-date resale price for a third mutual property was $628,000, which is roughly the same as it was for the prior year. And that should be it, correct? Okay, next meeting is March 3rd, 2026, 1:30 in the afternoon here in the boardroom. And Your Honor, that's my report.
Thank you. Next up is the Architectural Control and Standards Committee. This committee met Monday, January 12th here in the boardroom. And the one item that they considered was the revision to Standard 11A, interior flooring for second and or third floor manners, and that was discussed earlier today. The next meeting of the Architectural Committee is Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. here in the boardroom. Next up is Maintenance and Construction, Director Creamy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Maintenance and Construction Committee met on February 2nd at 1:30 p.m. And on the agenda, we had a discussion of the Gate 11 nuisance water seepage. The consultant from Petra Geoscience, Mr. Price, made a presentation, and there were a lot of discussion. Also, staff recommend the committee consider this item during the 2027 budget. It's very detailed. If anybody interested, they can look at it on the file and see what was discussed. There was also a ramp request for laundry room at 2403 Via Mariposa. Mr. Gomez presented the issue. a motion was made to accept the staff recommendation to deny the request to have a ramp installed at mutual expense. The motion passed unanimously. Another motion was made to recommend the staff make determination the detail of the threshold installation, and if not installed by staff, remove the threshold and inform the requesting members to pursue the common area alteration request via accessibility policy and the manor alteration department. The motion was passed. Also, we had discussion of the budget, and one of the issue was with the Garden Villas Association with the priority recommendation, which will be brought to the next MNC meeting. And for the, as part of the discussion, I informed the department that our finance group also looking at the potential some guardrail for the, preparation of the budget as we go forward, because there, we thinking about putting some structure in what information comes through the first and second round of budgeting. And that would be very important, so we have data for the budgeting that we can kind of rely on, rather than have a bunch of numbers and just keep cutting everything and going through the issue several times before we come to any conclusion. The next meeting is dated for March 2nd at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom.
Thank you, Director Creamy. Next up, Director Parsons, Landscape Committee.
Right, the Landscape Committee met on the 5th of February this month. Some of the things we discussed was dethatching process is going well. We anticipate completion by the end of April, weather permitting or some other things permitting. Sacramento should be coming out soon with Zone 0 requirements. Some of them were announced a little bit on NBC News last Thursday, but we haven't seen anything in hard copy yet. Landscape maintenance reminders. Just to give you a little overview of what our people work with here. In slopes, we have 118.7 acres. Now, you may say, well, what is an acre? Well, if you take a football field from the 5-yard line to the other 5-yard line and the width of a football field, that's basically an acre. So that's a lot of acres to try to cover. In edging, we cover 67.5 miles of edging, and this is done very often. Trees, we have right now a little over 13,500 trees. It was over 14,000, but some trees had to be removed. And an update on the leaf-feeding beetle infestation. Treatment of our 20 species of eucalyptus trees is beginning. Each of the 739 trees that have been identified is being treated in the next 2 months, and the prognosis is good for their recovery. The treatments include soil drenching and bark banding, and after treatment it could take a few months for full recovery, maybe as long as 6 months. But we are trying hard to save these trees. Our next meeting will be on the 5th of March, 9:30 a.m. here in the boardroom.
Thank you, Director Parsons. Next up, we have the Water Conservation Committee. Director Rain Sosak.
The Water Conservation Committee typically meets quarterly. Its last meeting was October 30th. The January meeting had to be canceled due to schedule conflict for the members of the committee. However, in the Treasurer's report, you heard that one of the negative to budget areas was utilities, and in most cases, it was utility rates. But when it comes to water, usage was also part of it. So while we didn't meet in January, there has been discussion with other mutuals as well as committees in the village so that we can have a much more positive action plan. And so look forward to our meeting on the 30th of April, when we will hopefully present it. And one of these days soon, maybe you'll be seeing some things on TV6 on conservation, so watch for that.
Okay, your next meeting, though, is April 30th?
Yes, and I think I mentioned that.
All right. Next up is the Resident Policy and Compliance Committee. This committee met last on January 28th. And we already addressed this morning the Monterey-style floor plan. We also discussed the LH21 storage area. Without objection, the committee directed the Compliance Division to incorporate the inspection and enforcement into the general workload, obtain information regarding installation of storage designation, and to table the matter for 2 months. So we'll take a look at the LH21 storage issues in the future. Next meeting is February 24th at 9:30 a.m. here in the boardroom. Next up is the Garden Villa Recreation Room Committee. Director Moon is no longer with us on Zoom this morning. Yeah, I said on Zoom. I said Director Moon is no longer with us on Zoom. So the only other person who would be possible to give the report would be Director Hopkins. Well, Director Park is not here, and the third person who's in attendance, according to the minutes, was Director Hopkins.
Okay.
You're going to defer to Stuart?
I'm deferring to Stuart over there.
You didn't have the meeting. All right.
Ditto.
The next meeting of the committee is March 18th, 2026. Okay? Now we...
Still with us.
Are you still on your cruise?
Oh, God. All right. Next up are the GRF committee highlights. We start with Director Fox, the Community Activities Committee.
Community activities, is that a real committee? Okay, now I'm online. Okay, so we had another spirited meeting. This was, when did we have this meeting?
February 12th.
February 12th, good call. And we discussed a variety of different topics, mostly oral discussions. One topic being discussed is facility naming rights. We had an oral discussion on that. Nothing was of course, determined out of it, but try to get a reading on what everybody feels about. And that would be like taking the Performing Arts Center and selling naming rights to the Performing Arts Center to generate income. And it would be similar to what you see when they sell the naming rights to the Staples Center over to crypto. And then as long as they keep paying every year and they can keep their name up there, and as soon as they decide or they go out of business or whatever, then it goes out for auction for somebody else to put their name on. And I think the general feeling was in favor, but I don't believe there was any vote taken, just getting a temperature. The second thing we talked about, let's see, we killed that one. Okay, next discussion has to do with use of rooms and the fees charged. Just a little background is that there's about 10,700 events a year booked in each of the various venues we have here. And some are small, like a club has a board meeting and they pay $4 for the use of a small room for a couple hours. But for some of the other rooms, like the Performing Arts Center or Clubhouse 5, the fee can be substantially more. But the discussion took shape that out of the 10,700, about 6,500 of them are like clubs and residents having basically events available for all Laguna Woods residents and their guests. So they're open to everybody. And that being the case, everybody believes that the theory of shared costs should hold, that it's a minimal charge that each organization would pay, with the community paying most. But there's, I believe, an opinion, and nothing was voted on, but the opinion was that on the other 4,200 events a year that are private events, not open to the village, not open to the anybody who lives here, like an outside company comes and has their Christmas party here, and it's open to the 100 people from the company that comes in here to use our facilities, that they should not be entitled to these, whatever, 20, as it turns out, the shared cost rate, the clubs pay 20%, the village absorbs the other 80% cost of using facilities. And the feeling was on these other 4,000, give or take, events, that why are we supplementing for-profit businesses or private things that have nothing to do with offering facilities and activities for the benefit of the residents here. And that was the nature of the conversation, and I don't believe anything was decided, but it was, as I say, just to get a temperature of the room as to what people are, where they're leaning. Okay, let's see. We talked about what, it sounds easier than it is. We talked about what would be a definition of a fundraiser, which on the face of it, you look it up in your Funkin' Wagnalls and you see that this is what it is. It's not so simple because there are multiple different types of fundraisers serving various types of causes, and it leads to a discussion of how many extra events each club should be having aside from their regular monthly events. So that was an exciting conversation, and I believe the end result was tabled for future discussion. What did we do after all this yammering away for hours on end? I believe that we approved replacing the theater curtain in the PAC, that the curtain there has outlived its use and it's falling apart, and has not been treated with a fire retardant in forever, and that the cost of taking it down, repairing it, putting it back up would be around $24,000, but for $38,000, which is only a $14,000 difference, we could get a new one that's pre-treated and would have a 5-year warranty and a lifespan of 20 years. So I believe that we voted that's the route we should take. And I think that sums up in a nutshell what we did last week.
Well, good. Now you can move on to what you did in traffic hearing.
Oh, good. Let's talk about traffic hearings here. Okay, let's not. Let's see, this past meeting, we had a long list of people that failed to show up. I think the word is out there that we got the goods on you, and no, I didn't say that. For whatever reason, many of the people were not able to make their appointment that day, and we had like 2 or 3 that we met with. We considered a few other cases, and then we called it a day. And that was the village traffic hearings, and the next meeting is tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
Wow, this is great. I have something to do tomorrow. Okay, and should I continue with disaster preparedness?
As you wish.
Since for whatever reason, I was there, and it just so happened I took a wrong turn, and I wound up here, and then I was the only one from Third who was here, so I got to sit up right where Donna is, and I got to well, anyway. So enough rambling. So these are the things, and this is a problem, a real problem this village has. In my opinion, and it's only my opinion, we really are deficient in our disaster preparedness. And I think if there's a problem, we're all in a lot of trouble. I think there are several different topics that were brought up versus accessibility of supplies if there's an issue, and that's a problem. The second problem was insufficient amount of bins to hold those supplies, which we don't have. Gate 11, there's no supplies whatsoever. They don't even worry about a bin because they have nothing to put in it. Let's see, we talked about the Neighborhood Watch Program, and we are not part of it. So if there's a problem that, you know, I don't know who you call 911 or call Resident Services Security or whatever, but there's no formal Neighborhood Watch Program here in the village. And when asked, the reason was that apparently Neighborhood Watch is a copyrighted name. And since we can't call it Neighborhood Watch, nobody ever got around to calling it something different and having the essence of that here. So that's another thing that's on the list. The question of how we are coordinating with the city for disaster response. It seems to be the prevailing opinion, and the report we got is that we're really not coordinated with the city, which is clearly a problem. Other things that, off the top of my head, that we talked about was that apparently municipalities get money from federal or from state earmarked towards disaster preparedness, so that somebody is supposed to be reaching out to the city of Laguna Hills or Laguna Woods to see what kind of money might be available for us to be implementing disaster preparedness within the village. And it was mentioned that they have these great shakeout exercises once a quarter. And the last one was held October 16th of 2025. And when they went through the gyrations, out of the 9 radios that are scattered around the village, 2 people replied and the other 7 were nowhere to be found. So it's not a real good sign at that point. So there's work to be done.
Will you be going to the next meeting?
Well, I don't know. Am I invited?
March 31st at 9:30 a.m. here in the boardroom.
I'll go, and if I'm...
I'll be there because I now know what.
Oh, good.
For someone to happen to be there, pretty good report.
Yes.
Well, I knew I'd have to give the
My name
report
just
because I was the
appeared
only
on
one
the
there,
list.
so.
All right.
So I took notes.
Next up is the GRF Maintenance and Construction Committee, Director Johnson.
You guys didn't have a meeting.
No,
Yeah, your next meeting is February.
They met on February 11th.
We had no meeting. Our next meeting is February 11th at 9:30 a.m.
No, that was the last.
No, that was the last meeting, was
That was the
February
last,
11th. Your next meeting is April 8th.
We had no meeting.
Right, next meeting is April 8th.
Thank you
Next
for
up
that.
is the GRF Finance Committee. Back to Director Fox.
Well, thanks for inviting me. Okay, so the GRF Finance Committee. The last meeting we had, we were given training on how financial statements work and how budgets are prepared. And that was really, for the most part, the entire meeting. Just give the committee attendees a little insight into the gyrations they go through. And I don't know that there was any really much of a discussion. It was just like, just listen up and pay attention. So the next meeting of the GRF Finance Committee is scheduled for, well, look at that. It's tomorrow at 1:30 here in the boardroom.
You're going to be here all day.
You know it.
All right, next up is the GRF Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Hopkins.
Thank you, President. The last meeting was on February 4th, and during that meeting, we made a decision to recommend that we replace one of the routes that had been on testing, and the new route would actually cross the freeway and provide access to Ralph's and Smart and Final, et cetera. So that was recommended up to the board, and we'll see what the board does, the GRF board does. The other was to add back some of the vehicles that were defunded in the last round of budgeting, because many of the vehicles are basically taking up more money in repair than it would be to just purchase new vehicles. And last but not least, the chair recommended, and we accepted, that we all experience being on a bus. And so we're going to take a bus route on February 20th, which is, I guess, Friday. So we'll be on a bus, and we'll experience, as a committee, what it is to ride one of the bus routes. The next meeting is March 25th, 2026.
1:30 in the boardroom.
Okay, 1:30.
Thank you. Next up, GRF Landscape Committee, Director Rain Socek.
The committee met last week on February the 11th. Discussion was fairly brief and centered around two areas. One was Assembly Bill 1572, which, for those of you who haven't heard us talk about this over and over and over again, it was passed in 2023. We are now in 2026. We are still waiting for definitive guidelines as to what to do, because Assembly Bill 1572 talks about entities, including HOAs and common area, watering common area that is non-functional turf cannot be watered, it says, with potable water. However, non-functional turf has not yet been defined. So there was some discussion about that, and we will continue it. It's interesting that GRF does also have some landscapes in various of the mutuals. There are little patches that are GRF patches, and they will most likely be considered non-functional because they're just patches. They can't really do much with it. So the same discussion we've had over and over again, they are also having. We were supposed to have guidelines, definitive guidelines, by last July. Then it was last December. If I look at the calendar, I believe it's February. We're still waiting. And so there was some of the discussion. And the rest of the discussion centered, as it always does, on the maintenance of the creek. And although the creek is located and runs primarily through United, the maintenance of it is the responsibility of GRF Landscape. And that is really greatly controlled and guided by California Fish and Wildlife. And so again, another discussion, bringing it to everybody's awareness, but those were the two major things. And our next quarterly meeting will be May 13th at 1:30 here in the boardroom.
Thank you. Next up is the Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee. This committee last met on October 20th of 2025. It has no plans to continue meeting at this point in time. It's just an ad hoc committee. They were dealing with the issues related to Building E. Those issues have been addressed, so I'm not sure that this committee ad hoc committee will continue much longer, especially since GRF created two new committees. One of them being one that will encompass land use, okay, which will include this. So there's no next meeting scheduled. Next up is the IT Committee, Director Hopkins.
Yes, this committee last met on October 31st, 2025. The next meeting is March 27th, 2026, at 1:30 p.m. It's a virtual meeting, and it is closed.
Thank you. Next up, GRF Broadband Ad Hoc Committee. This committee last met on December 10th. The next scheduled meeting is February 23rd here in the boardroom, as well as virtually. And last up is Director Moore with the GRF Security and Community Access Committee.
And we have not met since October the 22nd in 2025. We are supposed to meet on February 23rd at 9:30 in the boardroom.
23rd or 25th? Mine says 25th.
25th, sorry.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
We don't know who our chair is yet either.
You don't know who the chair is yet because they had the additions, and I guess they're a little slow in getting that organized. All right.
I don't think we went through the resolution 03-26 for the mutual committee appointment. It has
Wasn't that on the
changed.
consent calendar?
I
Yeah, that was on consent.
That was on the consent
calendar? Because we didn't read the changes, so.
It was.
Because there were changes.
There were changes, but we didn't read them. But it was on the consent calendar.
Okay.
So it's been approved. Okay, future agenda items, folks? Anything for the future? I'm sure we'll have plenty of stuff come up. All right, director's comments. I'll start at my far left with Director Parsons.
No comments, thank you.
Director Hopkins.
Only one comment. I think the disaster preparedness task force, I see it comes under GRF, has more application to the mutuals, just because people will most likely be in their homes. And I looked at the origin of it. We had an interesting discussion of it, I think, in the boardroom. I look at the origin of it. It goes back in 1992. There was no city at the time. And so I think the structure of it has been weak. I don't think you can point a finger at any one particular person or organization. But the structure of it, in terms of its longevity as a task force, needs to be looked at in light of today's environment. And it's something I think, again, structural. I think Chief Moya at the time.
Moya at the time.
Yeah, he had a passion for it, and so he put it all together. And I think before that, there wasn't much to it. And so that's my recollection of it. So I think it does require, I'll call it resurrecting, if you will, but I think it needs to be resurrected in light of today's activities. For instance, we've got a city, the city has funding. Those kinds of things need to be considered. But right now, it's a GRF committee or task force, which is different. And I think that needs to be looked at in terms of what it actually is.
The structure. Okay. Director Moore.
Yes, I was able to resurrect that old plan, and I sent it out to everybody that was on the disaster committee. So, yes, I agree. We need to bring that up to speed, and we need to have a plan here now.
Okay. Director Rain-Sotsack.
Yes, and now that I've discovered I'm on the Disaster Preparedness Committee, we've been kind of playing musical committees for a while, but have something of a passion for it. And I know there was a major change, which is when this was first started, people were supposed to gather at some of the clubhouses. And that has changed to a philosophy of shelter in place. And I think to Director Hopkins' thought, once we're talking about shelter in place, I think there's more responsibility on the mutuals because people are staying put as opposed to going to clubhouses, which are under GRF. So we will keep you all informed and get up to date on that because it certainly is something very important. And the most recent development had been the fact that we were invited by the city to be part of their consultant plan, which is something we'd never done before. We kind of did our thing, and the city did its thing. But the city is the one that calls FEMA. The city's the one that does this. So at least the link has been there. They invited us to participate. And so hopefully we will be seeing more collaborative plans coming out.
Thank you. Director Creamy. No comment. Okay. Okay. Director Johnson.
No comment.
Director Fox.
No comment.
Thank you. Director Rojas.
No comment.
Michaela.
Yes, thank you. The disaster preparedness is really important. And so I'm glad that there's some focus on it now.
Okay, thank you,
And
Stuart.
before you adjourn, could you comment a little bit, or at least advise some of our members who might be listening, about the town hall that spoke to the Ting project, because it was well done and is still available on video and would be a great benefit, I think, to our members.
Okay, thank you. We did have a town hall recently, and it focused specifically on Ting. We had it in the Performing Arts Center. We had over 250 residents from Third Mutual in attendance, so it was really quite well received. And everybody who had a question that they wanted to ask was able to ask it and got an answer. We had Ting representatives. We had Jose Campos, who is the Director of General Services. We had Paul Ortiz, who's Director of Broadband. And those two are very intimately involved in the Ting project. So they were able to, them plus all the Ting representatives, about 6 of them on stage, answer questions. We videotaped it because we had a lot of residents who indicated they were not able to attend and they would like to know what was going on. So they were able to watch it. It is still up on YouTube as a YouTube video. And you go to TV6 on YouTube and you can see the video from beginning to end. It has every question that was asked. And if you have any additional questions, as Bill Walsh indicated in his initial member comments, that he had watched it and he still has some questions and he's going to contact Ting. But it may be very helpful if you're not familiar with what's going on with the project to watch that video.
Is it still going to be on Sunday nights at 6
They show it on
p.m. regularly? so they don't
TV6
have to wait?
periodically now on Sunday evenings.
Yeah.
They're airing that video. Okay? Other than that, I have no additional comments. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have just one. On the disaster preparedness, I'm retired law enforcement. I was here when Laguna burnt to the ground.
Would you please come to the microphone so we can...
When you said there's a disaster preparedness stay in place, really the biggest disaster preparedness you need to look for is fire. If Laguna burnt again and the winds were high, you just have to look at what happened in Altadena and Pacific Palisades. This is an elderly community. Can people get out, and are the gates going to be open in the areas for people to get out, and will people know where to go? That's the biggest thing.
Very true.
So the security people here need to be prepared. I'd be happy to be on a committee, but it's a big deal with fires and making sure everybody in this community can get out when it happens.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, Carlos.
Just in order to make sure that we have good information out there for the whole community, we do have an emergency operations plan. It outlines all the evacuation routes. Our security chief, 30 years law enforcement, I'm 30 years law enforcement. There's a lot more out there as far as preparation and collaboration with the county that takes place, but I think they certainly have to do a better job as far as conveying it to the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, and I think that's where the good conversations are going to happen, because there's a lot of things that are in place. So I just want to have people rest assured that there is a lot of plans in place, and security is very well versed as to what needs to take place. And we also have a mass notification system which marries up with Alert OC, which is run by the county. But I think a good conversation to get more information out to everybody and have good information, I think that's going to be key.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director Moore.
I would say there's very little information out there. And I mean that sincerely, because I would be a handicapped person getting out in this fast. I would. And my next door neighbors who are new were part of the Altadena fire and they lost their home. So it's imperative that we, as seniors, have information.
Okay. At this point, we will recess and reconvene at the closed meeting. It is now 11:09?
Yeah, 11:10.
11:10. Why don't we reconvene at 11:45? Okay, thank you.